Hey family, this is Danavan Hylton, wishing you a prosperous day always. And as you can see, I am at Haynes Middle School, and I am working what they call a precinct. I'm a poll worker, and I say that maturely. I'm a poll worker, and I'm working a poll at a precinct. And a precinct is an area where individuals that live within a district. A district can be citywide, it could be statewide, it could be nationwide. But I'm working a particular district. This is a city district here. I'm working a particular district, but within that district, based upon the address that you live in, you might have more than one voting location. So based upon where you live, you might have to go to a particular location. So you just can't go to any location. So I'm at a particular location working a particular polling precinct where one can vote. And I've been here since working actively since 7 this morning. Gotten here a little earlier to help set up. And it's now close to 6 p.m. So I've been here almost 11 hours. And I wanted to, this campaign that I'm experiencing is coming to an end in 1 hour. And I feel like it's only right if I speak, my experience. If you know me, you know that 4 years ago, I ran against this person that I have the shirt on representing. I ran against this person, and I'll send you a link of the video that I did 4 years ago as to why I decided to run for city office. I'll tell you right now, with all due respect, I'm so glad I didn't win. Public service is serious business. There's a lot that goes on behind the scene, both in the community as well as in the private and public sector. A lot that goes on. Most elected officials have to go to the council chamber. We're talking citywide. And sometimes they don't leave the council chamber for their meetings until like 2, 3 in the morning. They got to go through everything on the agenda. And I have more appreciation for anybody that's in office, because especially at the district level, you don't get paid a whole lot, and you take on all the liabilities, both mentally, financially, spiritually, emotionally. And it's serious business. And I had decided to run 4 years ago because I felt like, I want to make a change in my community. I've already been making a change in my community, and technically I didn't need to serve in public office to do so. But because I ran, I had a chance to meet this gentleman once I ran against him. And when he made the runoff, he said, Donovan, if I win, I want you to take my political party seat as an elected official for this party, for this county. And I want you to follow me, and we'll go through this together. And I thought that was real cool because it allowed me to get behind the scenes. And I'll put the link up. And if you know me, I ran back then because I wanted to get more 18 to 35-year-olds involved in the political process. In order for that to happen, I had to get out there and see what's going on for myself. I couldn't take no words from it. And so through that process, I met a lot of great people. I'm gonna throw out some names, people I met that are just rocking and rolling. I have the highest respect and standard for. And if I don't mention your name, it's just because I want to keep the video short. One, Tequila Johnson, John Little, it's just so many people I met. Tequila Johnson, John Little, Jason Freeman, John Parrish, Clarice Rankins, Prescott Harris, Chase Montgomery, and I'm talking about young folks that I ran into that I respect and their work. Charles Montgomery, it's horrible. It's a lot, and they put their hearts, minds on the line to speak up for those that technically don't have a voice. And I never would have had that experience if I had not have gone through this process. And I run a sales and marketing firm. I specialize in public relations and business development. I help the public and private sector increase their customer base and increase their community presence. I help employers locate local residents to apply for their jobs. I help real estate developers connect to community residents to introduce their development projects and hopefully create community buy-in. I help local businesses increase traffic to their business. And most recently, I've helped African diaspora countries do a better job of connecting to the state of Tennessee for non-immigrant workforce programs, for post-secondary education as well. Let's see, what else have I been? In Nashville, there's 6 consulates in Nashville. Now, I'm sure you heard of embassies. Embassies are pretty much authorized geographical space within the United States where a country is set up in Washington to have a voice for the nation. But they have regional offices, these embassies that are called consulates, and there's 6 consulates in Nashville. I believe it's Spain, Denmark, Germany, Japan, France. There's one more. But the bottom line is there's no African diaspora continents. And I've been fortunate to work with the country of Jamaica and the Democratic Republic of Congo to help create non-immigrant workforce programs in the rural areas of Tennessee. Those are still on the way, but right now the current challenges are affordable housing, which I'm helping to address. I have a passion for all this because I have a passion to see low-income communities and diverse communities transform into thriving, deep-rooted markets and deep-rooted communities. I feel we're strong as our weakest link, not to say that these particular demographics are weak, but I feel that as a skilled person of color, if you will, politically speaking, I need to be able to use my talents. I don't have no college degree. I came to Tennessee homeless with $14 in my pocket with a girlfriend who's now my wife of 8 years now, and started off as a janitor. And here I am running a business because I've been able to do 4 things. I've been able to identify what I like to do, what I'm good at, what people need, and what people are willing to pay me for. The question is, how integral can you be in this walk? And so with all that being said, I just want to be able to give you, experienced the campaign. The person I ran against, I was able to see as he's what you call an incumbent. Going to now, he won, he went in 4 years, and now he had to run again against some strong candidates, some passionate candidates that want to see the best for their community naturally. And I had this chance to see for the first time what it's like for someone that's already in office, try to maintain office. And again, all this is for me is not, Donovan, I'm gonna break it down. Donovan is in it for the money and no, when you know where your purpose is from a spiritual perspective, you are going to be put in positions in your life that are going to open up doors and make you more knowledgeable so that you can give back to your community. Simple as that. And so I was in that position, and I feel obligated to be able to share my experience with you based upon the campaign that I experienced. And so I feel that kind of like when you're in college, I was doing this 4 years. This is basically this time 4 years ago, I had ran and lost, and then a good friend of mine, Bobby Stockard, who's top notch. Now look in the camera's eye, and hopefully I can reach you, Bobby, Mr. Stockard, who is top notch, stand-up guy all day long. And more importantly, recently there were some disagreements, and he continues to amaze me because he's been professional and respectful, even in how things have unfolded. And I have the most respect for you, Mr. Stockard. Don't you ever forget that. You've been top notch. And so basically 4 years ago, this time 4 years ago, I was pretty much in a position at a standstill, waiting to see who was going to win. And basically, this time last year, an hour ago, 4 years ago, we found out who won. So let me give you guys my insight. At the end of the day, I run this marketing firm. It's a consulting business. But ultimately, one day, I want to serve as an international senior advisor to business leaders and country leaders. Senior advisor to business leaders worldwide and to country leaders, particularly in the African diaspora countries. And so here is my dissertation, if you will, before my graduation, or my case study. Because again, it's about getting young folks involved. And this is why I see indirectly why young folks don't care about the political process. First of all, with all due respect, and again, just a disclaimer, this is not speaking about anybody in particular. This is what my goal was 4 years ago, what I'm going to continue to do as a lifestyle as long as I'm blessed to walk this earth. And I'm always looking to uplift people. People still think that, Donovan's looking to tear down or whatever. And I'm glad I'm actually kind of fond that they think that, because that means I've come a long way. Because 4 years ago, you didn't know who the heck I was in this particular area. But at the same time, I'm always looking to see the best for myself and others. And no matter how you look at it, I'm always looking to keep peace. So things could have been a lot more challenging. What are you talking about, Donovan? You're speaking very broad. Well, it's only for the people that know what I'm talking about that need to know. But for those that are young and you're thinking about going to public service, or you're thinking about or if you're a senior or you're elder and you're thinking, why are the young people not engaged? here are some of the insights of my case study and my dissertation. One, I feel this political game has very little loyalty. I'm just gonna keep it all the way real with you. With all due respect, and I say this with all humble humility and love, this game has very little loyalty. What I mean by that, everybody's connected to everybody. And it's all about interest. Everybody's connected to everybody, and it's all about interest. And sometimes some interests are aligned, and sometimes some interests are not aligned. But the funny part about it is, at the end of the day, these disconnects ultimately are always connected. They understand that it's a process, they go through the process, and once the process is over, they move forward professionally. So you always can't you always can't take things personal when you're a community resident or constituent from the outside looking in. This thing goes deep. This game is dirty. I'm speaking of campaigns. This game is dirty. And you wish it never is dirty, but you know, people want to see others win. And so for that reason, it can get a little dirty. And I see why young folks really don't care, because sometimes it can get dirty to where adults are acting more childish than the children, and the children actually become the adults in situations. You gotta, and I'm talking to myself. This is what I'm learning. You gotta have thick skin for this game. You gotta have thick skin for this game, because it's going to be a lot of scrutinizing, a lot of insulting of your intelligence, and a lot of failure to communicate. And you can't take it personal. You just can't. Because again, if you take it personal, it's going to stop you from where you were designed to go. For example, if you're working a job and you know that you have to make sure you take care of your family, but you allow a coworker to get under your skin to where you put yourself in a position to get fired, you lost your purpose of why you're there. It's not to make friends. It's not to socialize. It's for you to get a job done to the highest degree so that your managers can continue to keep you on the team. And you can continue to keep taking care of yourself and your family and your community until you get to the next level of your life. You can't take this stuff seriously, but you gotta have thick skin. I'm very nice, and my skin has gotten thicker. And I say that with all due respect to everyone. At the end of the day, low voter turnout. Everybody does all this campaigning and does all this stuff, but at the end of the day, for example, in this district that I'm campaigning in, 25,000 people, only 10,000 registered voters, and of the 10,000 registered voters, traditionally only 2,500 vote. So out of 25,000 people in your district that have the right to register to vote, only 2,500 or 10% are actually voting. And the majority of those people, well over 90%, are senior citizens. No young folks involved. And this is why I feel like young folks are not being involved. The things I'm talking about here. Low voter turnout. We got to get young folks more involved, and I do understand young folks why it's really like, who cares? I would say. Social media is a powerful tool for positive or negative perception. Social media is a powerful tool for positive and negative perception. Why? Because social media is a great platform to just spread your thoughts. They could be straight lies or they could be straight facts. But what really gets me the most is people don't do their own research, and they take this social media to, one, spill their guts like people really care and expect people to follow you and like you. But two, they look at these posts, and instead of actually, verifying, they take the information and run with it. I actually read in a group text based upon a post that was created about me. Some people, you know who you are, some people that I thought were my friends, actually take this information from a third-party post and went on a group text they did not know or forgot that I was on, and just went in on me in the most unprofessional, most disrespectful way. And in the group text, one of the persons said, "I'm so upset that I can't even call Donovan." That's what it said. And I said, wow, you mean tell me as grown men of the same skin color that you took a social media post and from a third party that you really don't know like that, but you know me very well? We've done business together in the sense of going to job fairs and everything like that. And you see me in the community, we picked up trash. You mean tell me, we've been doing this for over a year, you mean tell me you can't call me to say, Donovan, what the hell is going on? Excuse my French. I respect, there's been people that out here that saw some things, and I know really we don't associate like that. technically we don't. And they came to me with fire in their eyes and had the decency to have a conversation with me and say, Diamond, what's going on? I may not have agreed with you. Or at the end of the day, we talked about it. We're able to get on the same page, even if they didn't agree with me, and we were able to move forward like men. I have more respect for those people now than the people that I thought were my friends, that I thought were supporters. And it's not a big deal, but this is what I mean by thick skin. And this is why I feel that young folks don't care. Because young folks have a culture of keeping it real. And the men that we look up to, that are supposed to be running it and showing us the game, are not acting with masculinity at all. Because feminine energy, that's not a man or a woman. I'm just going to be honest. If you don't agree, please help me, enlighten me to help me. But feminine energy is situations that take information and don't speak directly. And they're able to post and share and talk all this stuff without coming straight to the source. Masculine energy, from a male or female, is when you go straight to the source to find out the truth. Have a conversation. Come on, y'all. And that really was a slap in my face. But again, you say you want to be an international advisor to business leaders and global government agencies and country leaders. You got to learn this stuff, Donovan. So this is my dissertation. This is my case study. And for those that got caught up in the raft and the madness, you, more importantly than me, this experience is more so for you than it was for me. I was put in this position to bust you out because you got to grow. Not for me, because I know where I'm going, I know who I am, and I know what's over me. During this whole process, I can hold my head up high. During this whole process of the campaign. Don, what are you talking about? Who cares about a campaign? Those that know what I'm talking about, feel what I'm saying, and those that really just here to get some information about the game, just keep these things in mind. But most of the time, things happen so that you can grow. Because naked alone you come in, naked alone you're going to leave. So everything that goes on in your life and your experience is about your growth, your personal development. Social media is a powerful, powerful tool. And I'm in the business of public relations, which deals with perception. And I try my best to create perceptions that are real and integral. But at the same time, nowadays you can create a fake account, social media account, say whatever you want on there. There's even technology on there where somebody can create a body, create you, and actually create a voiceover that makes it sound like you, so it sounds like you're saying stuff. And we can't fall for that okie doke. And I'm thinking, okay, with all due respect, if we're doing this on social media, with all due respect, how deep does this go when it comes to the television media? And here we go, whoa, and using our emotional intelligence to fall into what they call chaos theory. And this is coming from a young man half the age of the people that are playing this game, that take it seriously and they have a passion for it, but at the same time, they're not willing to go the extra mile. And so if anything, we all need to learn from this experience. And I'm here to bust it out because, again, I stepped in 4 years ago. This is what I asked for. And so I'm proud to be in this position. Campaigning takes work. Phone calls, knocking on the doors. I'll leave some links as far as when I was out there sweating, knocking on doors. Campaign takes work unless you are a candidate that has made public service a lifestyle. Public service campaigning takes work unless you're a candidate that has made public service your lifestyle, meaning for years, meaning people already know who you are and what you do based upon the work that you've already done for yourself, your communities, and other organizations. You shouldn't have to explain to anybody why you're in office or why you deserve to be in office. You should have people that are credible within the community letting people know. That's grassroots. Sometimes people can create grassroots to create negative propaganda, but at the same time, we're praying that everyone acts integral and is creating positive propaganda. And if you're an incumbent, somebody that's already in office, you shouldn't have to work that hard. You should already be engaging and listening to your constituents to where like it's a no-brainer. You shouldn't have to work this hard. I'm not saying that in anybody that's an incumbent. I'm just saying if you're an incumbent and you're going into your first term and you're looking to run again, or if you're at the U.S. House of Representatives or U.S. Senate position, you shouldn't have to work hard. Your work should already be speaking for you, where your constituents feel like they're included, because they're the ones that voted you in. They're the ones that are expecting you to have a voice. They're the ones that are expecting you to actually for them to depend on you. It's a lifestyle, y'all. One of the things I don't like about campaigning either is why is everybody so mad? I'm trying to say hi to folks. And again, this is stuff that I'm looking at for young folks to let them know, don't even care about this crap. It's a bunch of crap, or this is why we need to step up. People are all mad, ain't talking to you, knocking down your signs, being disrespectful. It is a mess, y'all. And we got to change that. This is the mess. We can't even sit here. The whole part about it is we're all living in the same community. We're all eligible constituents to vote for the same people, but we want to be so disrespectful to one another that when all this is said and done, we still gotta walk amongst each other. And here we go being so rude and disrespectful and unprofessional that we can't even do that. But then you expect kids to play fair and to treat each other with respect and to do these things, but us as adults aren't doing the same thing. Come on, y'all. Let's not be hypocrites. I'm talking to myself as well. It's not to anybody. I'm talking to myself. I want to put this stuff into my heart. So here's where we are. I'm going to leave you guys with this. Here's where we are when it comes to economic growth in the United States of America. This economy, the value of the dollar, is changing drastically. If you don't understand that, or if that's not in your heart, get used to it. This economy, the value of the dollar in America, is changing drastically. What do you mean by that? Debt is rising at a steady pace. More importantly, lose my train of thought because I'm seeing somebody here. But more importantly, this is happening over all the major cities. The price of the value of land, the price of the value of property is rising as more and more corporations become conglomerates and indirectly cut out small businesses, which actually provide almost close to 60% of the jobs in America, small businesses. And I can say that as I serve on the leadership council for the state of Tennessee for the National Small Business Association. I just came back from Washington, D.C. With our U.S. House Representative and our U.S. Senate for the state of Tennessee to discuss the policies for small businesses in the state of Tennessee. I am a legal voice for the leadership council for the National Small Business Association. So I know when it comes to small business. And more importantly, conglomerates, which are basically small businesses that end up buying each other out or joining to increase their resources and their dollars to buy other small businesses, are now taking over, and is putting small businesses in a tough position. What I mean by that, for example, when it comes to housing, most individuals now, when it comes to housing, most real estate developers and real estate owners, and it could be private capital institutions, are now buying property through bank notes or through bank REOs or properties that are owned by the bank, and they're tapes. They're just a bunch, like over 100 houses, real estate houses that the bank owns is looking to get rid of. Most financial institutions are getting wise, and they're buying all the bank-owned properties at one time, so they get them for a bulk price for cheap. They fix them up, and guess what? They're not selling them. They fix them up and they rent them out. So now people have to live in a house that's rented because the company or the institution has bought thousands and thousands in strategic geographical locations of the United States, to where now you can't even buy a house because now they own it and they're controlling the rent. So they can jack the rent up and boost and bubble the real estate market. And that's a great financial strategy. You know, in this great country, when it comes to capitalism, you can't get mad at that. You know, if that's a legal rule, why would a company not get wise, instead of buying one or two houses for sale by owners, go straight to the bank? Because the bank wants to give out debt. They make money from debt. So if they got property sitting in their bank, they're not making no money, and they might go out of business. So if somebody says, hey, let me buy 1,000 houses, let me buy 100 houses, they just go to each bank and they own them, and they have the money to fix them up, and they have the money to say, I'm not going to sell them, but you got to pay rent. That makes it harder for the individual families to now buy and own a house. Because now the houses aren't for sale, they're not on the market, but you got to pay rent. Who wants to pay rent for something that they can't own? Supposedly a house is an asset, but through Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad book, it's more of a liability. And by renting, you're putting yourself for sure in a liability. So now when we talk about becoming a consumer or producer, we're actually through the strategic area of most constituents in the United States are becoming consumers, because the producers are becoming wise to the game. I'm saying all to say, when it comes to the economic trends, you can't get upset when you're in Chicago, Nashville, Detroit, New York. You're talking about the Bronx, you're talking about Brooklyn. These areas are now being revitalized. I don't like to use the word gentrified, because in order for an area to become gentrified, that means that the people that live in that current area have to sell their house. And a lot of times the senior citizens won't sell their house because they worked hard for that house. Some of those houses were built from the ground up with the land they bought. But more importantly, if somebody passes away and they give it to their children or their grandchildren, they don't understand the value of that property, a place for you to lay your head, usually paid off, and they sell it for a couple $100,000, and a developer will come, knock that house down, and if the land is big enough, put 2 or 3 or more houses on there, and they bought it for, let's say, $300,000, but now they put 3 houses on there, and they're basically selling all 4 houses on that lot for a total of $1.5 million, or they're renting out those lots. So if you don't sell your property, then basically nothing can happen. They have different programs out there where you can do tax deferrals, tax freezes, contact your tax property assessor, or your city or county trustee. There's different programs out there that can help you stay in your house. Property taxes do rise. For example, if you're talking about a property tax, I'm talking to young folks. I'm tired of older folks. I'm tired. Y'all giving me a headache. Young folks, you got to get into the property tax game. How does property tax affect where you are? Why? These are why you should care. So for example, I'm just talking about economic growth. Economic growth happens because traditionally a business has come into a particular area and they're providing jobs. People need to make money. These jobs traditionally are self-sustaining jobs that usually will ensure that you're making at least $40,000 a year. If you are a young person my age, and you are not accepting the fact that if you're not making $40,000 a year in the United States of America, you're going to be in a tough spot for the rest of your life. Because that's the minimum that you have to have these days. At least $40,000. Government subsidies, government assistance, all those things are gone. All those things are done with. And all those things are gone. All those things are done with at the end of the day. So, hey, D. All is well? All those things. We're at 60. We're at 65. I'm shooting a video real quick, giving my experience about a campaign, and so I haven't had a chance to respond yet. But we're at 65 right now for the young folks. We're at 65 right now. Voting. Yeah, everybody has come through. It's been, for me at least, it's been very unanimous. Yep. Okay, thank you. And so, if you're not bringing in $40,000 a year, it's hard. For example, here in Nashville, based upon the value economically, the economic growth of Nashville, there's no longer any public housing in Nashville. And here's how it works that I'm learning when it comes to economic growth and businesses moving into an area to create these high 5-figure, mid to high 5-figure, low 6-figure salary jobs. What happens is they go into an area that is pretty much dilapidated, if you will, and the property value is really inexpensive. So why would you not want to get a $100,000 job and buy a house in an area that's really inexpensive, and you know that area is going to change because the growth is going to happen? Why? Because again, people are selling their house. And so in Nashville, there's no longer any public housing. So for example, the first people that go are people that are in public housing in Section 8. Then the renters go. And then your senior citizens that can't pay the taxes, and then everyone else that's homeowners that can't keep up with their property tax as well. And that's how you get foreclosures. And then you got people that are going into the foreclosure game, buying these foreclosed properties for next to nothing, fixing them up and going about their business. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are connecting to industries that are on the growth 10 years down the line. Go in and get your job training. Get your job training right now for industries that are growing 10 years down the line. Commercial drivers, that's a dying industry. They're now coming up with automated commercial trucks, driving trucks. Your fast food restaurant teller, your fast food restaurant workers, that's a dying industry. They're now making automated machines to order your food and deliver your food at the fast food restaurant. Bank tellers, that's a dying industry. So you got to be wise as far as the industry that you're working in and how long that industry is going to last. And you got to now take the time while you have the opportunity. I know transportation and childcare, those are 2 big challenges, but you got to take the opportunity to find out what industries are on the growth. A lot of people think that when it comes to advanced manufacturing, I'm always speaking advanced manufacturing, that's on the growth. And that's pretty much kind of like a warehouse situation. But most warehouses, based upon technology, when you walk in, they have nothing to do with going in and you got a dusty warehouse and you're pushing the broom around and all this. Most warehouses these days are clean and spotless. Why? Because it's advanced manufacturing. They're using advanced technology, which are and machine operators and things of that nature to actually do the work. So your warehouse is spotless, clean. You now have to have skills with technology in order to compete and these jobs are starting off $20, $30 an hour. So and there's a huge industrial gap when it comes to skilled workers compared to the baby boomers, which are basically over 70% of the current industrial job force, and your young folks. Young folks, because of media and today's fast-paced lifestyle, feel like the industrial industry is unworthy. And to be honest with you, most women look at people that work in the industrial industry as unworthy. And that's why most young men don't go in those fields, because they want to get women. But, we want to be different athletes and entertainers and things of that nature. But yet and still, people don't know that those industrial workers are making $20,000, $30 an hour starting off, and will probably end their career making close to $60 an hour or more. And more importantly, will start their own business because the demand for those skilled trade positions are so high. How do I know? Because I work with employers in the industrial industry that are looking for skilled people, which are very rare for the jobs that are coming in. I think the state of Tennessee, according to the governor's office, said that there are over 200,000 skilled jobs that won't be filled, even if every student graduated from high school right now and every individual was able to get their GED in the state of Tennessee. There's still 200,000 jobs in the skilled trade industries that still won't be filled. $60,000 and up a year. We got to change those things, people. So, at any rate, I'm just giving you guys my insight. Look at my story. Don't take what I do personally. Don't, Donovan, and come on, y'all. I'm in the trenches because I want to see what the heck is going on and how we can make a change. Stop taking stuff so personal. Step your game up. I'm talking about the people that are in the game that claim to be in the game. This is why people like myself who want to be in the game don't get in the game because they see the fakeness, if that's a word, and it's not. They see it. So if you want young folks to get in this game, y'all got to act as far as people that are in the game, and the mature people, much elderly, have to put themselves in a position where they're showing young folks this is why you have to be involved. And no matter what, I'm going to stand in the trenches, and I'm realizing the deeper you go in any success, one called success, and success is just simply taking the information that you put in your mind, as you say you can do, and just follow that path, wherever it leads you. And I could tell that when you follow your path and you're getting closer or further than where you started, people feel like, oh, well, he should be with me or she should be with me. No, I'm not with anybody. I'm for the humankind, the human species. I'm for my community. And at the time, this is where we met. But at the same time, I got to keep it moving because there is a whole ecosystem that goes into public relations, private relations, and the voluntary relations. Yes, sir. Right there to the left. Yes, sir. And it's great. I've had a chance to meet a lot of people. And if I have been disrespectful to anybody during this process, I apologize. Y'all know my heart. But at the same time, I have to experience things. I have to go through things, and I have to know these things. One of my mentors told me, and he's a client of mine, said, Donovan, Henry Ford. No, he was not a client of mine. He was a client of mine. Because I know so many people. He said Henry Ford, one of his quotes, I'll see if I can find it. Henry Ford said, when you go through these things and you go through your challenges, the best thing that you can have is, the best thing you can experience and take out of it is wisdom and become more knowledgeable. So what I'm able to do now is go through these experiences for my people, my young folks, and be able to come out and speak to them with some sense. And I'm going to keep it real with you. So if you ever feel like, even if you feel like you don't like what I'm doing, come talk to me so I can teach you and show you the game. I'm an advisor now. I'm a senior advisor for business leaders now, for country leaders now. If you don't believe me, I just did I was contracted to do an event marketing event for the Democratic Republic of Congo for their Independence Day. They have Colton, and other natural resources. They have the second most powerful river in Africa. They have titanium, they have zinc, they have diamonds, They have gold. And coltan, through the Democratic Republic of Congo, coltan is used to create the battery life for over 50% of the cell phones that we use in America today. So I'm already at that level. It's just a matter of time before I get on a larger stage. And these are things that I have to go through. And I'm not taking things personal. And I respect everybody who has an opinion about me or about the game that we're playing, because they have every right in this great country to exercise their freedom of speech. They have it. And I respect anyone that's going to exercise their freedom of speech any way they see fit than anyone sitting on the couch and doing nothing. Hey, people are calling me, blowing me up. I got to let you go. That's my dissertation or my case study for campaigns. And I thank you for your prayers. I thank you for your support. Take this information. If there's take the information with the good food, keep it with you. If there's any bad information or bad spoiled food out of this message, throw it out. Because that's what I would do. Peace, love, respect to you. And congrats for anyone that's running for public office. And keep running if you don't make it. And if you do make it a point to make sure you're serving your community. Danavan Hylton, wishing you the best. I'll see you at the top. If you feel like this information was of value to you in any way, I have a link at the bottom. Please, I'm self-employed, growing from a self-employed business owner to a business owner where I'm managing people that work for me and work with me to becoming an investor in business and land and real estate and natural resources. So I need donations to keep it going. So please click this Cash App link, donate whatever you felt this message was worth, and thank you again for your time. Peace.